We're more than halfway through 2026. Thought it would be a great opportunity to share with you what's going on with our local real estate market here in Laguna Beach. As you know, the market here has changed dramatically over the past couple of years, and if you're relying on the headlines, you're probably missing a lot of the smaller fine print details that are truly impacting our local market. So in this video today, we're going to share with you our top 5 factors to consider when you're buying or selling real estate in this market. First thing I would share with you is I think it's still a pretty healthy market here in Laguna Beach, although buyers are much more selective about the homes that they are pursuing. They're much more intelligent, they're much more educated about the process and about where the market sits. You're seeing a lot more inspections, you're seeing a lot heavier negotiations through the request for repair process. And there's this gap between where sellers' mentality is and where the buyers are today. The second thing we're noticing in this market has to do with pricing. And when we compare first half of 2025 to first half of 2026, the number of sales doesn't differ very much. In 2025, we had 151 sales. 2026, we have 155 sales. The difference, however, is in the average price point for those sales. In 2025, the average sale price was $3.2 million, and in 2026, it's $3.9 million. So what that's telling me is the buyers in today's market are definitely willing to pay a premium for more exceptional properties, and the others are sitting a little bit longer. So what this is telling me is there is still a pretty significant pricing gap discrepancy between well-priced homes and overpriced homes. I think some of the sellers today are still set in the mentality of COVID pricing, and it's just not that way today. The buyers, as I said, are much more intelligent. They're much more careful about their pursuit of the properties they are purchasing. So lesson here is price your home well, market it beautifully, have it ready for sale. The third element that we're noticing in this market has to do with inventory levels. And COVID took us down to historically low inventory, and we've been coming out of that over the past couple of years. But we started January 2026 with about 110 homes on the market today. That number has grown to about 180 homes. But what's a little deceiving about that number has to do with the pricing that I had just mentioned, and the fact that sellers and buyers, there's still a pretty wide gap between what reality is. And so many of those sellers are hanging on to this pricing that is just not realistic in today's market. So it's creating this false level of inventory that these homes are really sitting there, and they're technically outside the market where people aren't even really seeing them. So you're seeing homes sit on the market. You've got 70% of all the active listings right now have been sitting for over 30 days. 50% of them have been sitting for over 60 days. And those are super high numbers considering where we've been the previous several years. The fourth factor, and probably the most important factor impacting our local real estate market today, has to do with insurability. Something that we used to take for granted, and at the end of a transaction, we'd call our insurance broker and just say, hey, I forgot to sign up for insurance, can you cover me? Is not near that simple today. About 84% of Laguna Beach is in a high fire or very high fire hazard zone, and a lot of the insurance carriers have either pulled back or pulled out completely from covering those. So in a transaction today, it's super important that you call your insurance broker or your insurance carrier and discuss with them the property address, the location, and those things impacting the fire insurance, because we're seeing that get in the way of more transactions today than ever. So be careful of that and definitely get ahead of that. So the fifth factor affecting our real estate market today, or trend that we're noticing, is the gap between great homes and average homes has never been greater. I touched on this a little bit ago, and buyers are willing to pay a huge premium for those homes that are done in a great location, great walkability, great outdoor space, move-in ready, and they're not willing to pay for homes that are overpriced, tired, outdated, poor location, or poor floor plans. So overall, I'd describe the first half of 2026 as a relatively healthy and balanced market. We're no longer in that extreme seller's market that we were a couple of years ago, and we're certainly not into a buyer's market. Buyers have many more choices. Sellers need to be more strategic and more intentional about positioning their property, and I'd say quality homes are performing exceptionally well in this market. So that's it, your mid-year review of the 2026 Laguna Beach real estate market. If you like what you're seeing, want to see more of it, please like or subscribe from wherever you're watching. We certainly appreciate the support, and we'll reach back out to you with any comments, questions you have. We're here to be a resource for you and look forward to communicating and connecting in the future. Thank you.